Okay, so the second Tesa tape test. This is the brush test, obviously, so we'll just run through it. Okay, so on top of the eggshell, so we've brushed eggshell on top of it. As you can see, it's still slightly damp. It is the next day, but we're going to do the test anyway. So eggshell on top of eggshell. Precision sensitive, didn't do well at all. Neither did the pre-outdoor. The 3-day stinker. Oh, that's a pretty poor result all round. I mean, it was damp conditions and maybe it's bled under due to that, but it does show you that in those conditions, I mean, I came in this morning and everything's got a slight dampness to it. So yeah. Okay, so onto the shiny side of hardboard. Bit of bleeding from the sensitive. Bleeding as well from the outdoor. Oh, 3 days properly cured under that eggshell, and again, it's bled under. Oh. Well, that's another stinker. Could be down to the conditions, but it's not looking good for either tapes at the moment. I don't think any tape would stop this. Emulsion. No. No. Everything's bleeding. Okay, that's not terrible, which is obviously on the chipboard, which is the porous. Same again, a little bit of bleeding, but not awful. Lots of bleeding from the 3-day. And lots of bleeding again. Okay, so onto the plasterboard. Okay, so the precision's done really well, apart from that pull at the end. So same as last time, it's just pulling the paper off. And again, the reason it might be pulling off more than normal is because of the dampness in the air. Yeah, same again. Oh yeah, terrible. Okay, so as you can see, with the dampness in the air, the tape hasn't done well at all. Obviously, if you're painting outdoors or in a damp space, masking up is probably not going to be the first thing you think of. First thing we'll be thinking of is packing up and going home, because no one likes painting this, but it does show you that in these conditions masking tape really does struggle, and like I said, I live by the precision masking tape from Tesa, and even that's not held up. Okay, so the first test went a bit pants. So I've come over to this wall, which is an emulsion wall, and I've painted some acid catalyst paint on it so it would dry quicker. So it's the equivalent of putting a solvent-based eggshell on top of an emulsion water-based wall. So obviously we've got the 4 tapes. Hopefully this tape test goes a bit better. There we go. So that's exactly what I expect the sensitive to do, which is a slight bleed, but I mean, it's not meant to stick like shit. Outdoor, yeah, a little bit of bleeding as well, but pretty clean lines, and external wise you wouldn't really expect anything different. 3-day, yeah, a lot of bleeding on the 3-day. Unfortunately, that's obviously the weakest tape, and it's also peeled back a bit of the paint. And as you can see, the outdoor didn't pull anything. So unfortunately, that I mean, you say it's the weakest tape, but it's peeled off a bit of paint, which is not ideal. Okay, and the sensitive, there's a little bit of bleeding at the top, but I imagine with all the other lines being so clean, that's just user error.